Hey, 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 what is up, everybody? Uncle Mad here live. Holy crap, a lot's going on right now. Spain and Morocco are about to go to a penalty shootout in the World Cup. I got that going on over here. But the big news coming out of St. Thomas Sports Park, Baptist Sports Park, the Tennessee Titans organization, General Manager John Robinson has been fired. Wow. I don't think anybody's going to be that shocked that his tenure came to an end after what we've seen kind of the last two seasons with the roster construction. But to happen in the middle of a season where you're pretty comfortably in control of the division, the AFC South, granted the AFC South is pretty much trash, so it's relatively easy to be in control of the division. But to get fired after a, up and down, somewhat successful tenure mid-season is quite shocking. It makes me wonder what went down, what was the final straw. Obviously the big game Sunday against the Eagles, that was on full display of everything that's gone wrong in the last year or so of the John Robinson era. The offensive line, oh, Spain missed their first one. Morocco advantage. uh, the Eagles game, I tweeted it out Sunday. It was the ultimate example of John Robinson's failures over the last year or so. The big one, obviously, A.J. Brown just absolutely destroying the Titans secondary. The offensive line being just abysmal. The lack of any receivers that could do anything on the Titans side of the ball. Just everything that he's failed in building our roster was on full display in that game more so than ever. A lot of people have pointed to the viral video that went around of Amy Adams Strunk and other people in the owner suite getting flipped off and taunted by Eagles fans about A.J. Brown. Did that get in her head and just say that, we've seen enough, we know that the problems are here? I think it's a lot of things. You have to have a lot. This is not, Amy Adams Strunk has been pretty solid since she's come into the full ownership position. I don't think she made this decision uh, on a whim. I think this has had to have been building for a while. And I kind of got to wonder how much of it might have involved Mike Vrabel's feelings on John Robinson. I just retweeted a guy who posted out the video when the trade was announced during the draft that we were sending AJ Brown to the Eagles. You can just look at Mike Vrabel and you can just tell that he is not thrilled with it, not happy with it. And it's one thing, nobody's ever going to be happy to let a good player go. But it was a different kind of reaction than a, man, I hate that we have to do this. It was a, what are we doing here type of reaction. And he had just said a week or two before the draft something to the effect of that if A.J. Brown wasn't on the Titans, then he wasn't going to be the coach. And then, there's a lot of stories about what went down, what led to the A.J. Brown trade. Some people have said that, wow, Spain missed again. They're in trouble here. Oh my goodness. Morocco's up 2-0 in the penalty kick from the marks. A lot of people, there's been reports that A.J. Brown basically was just not going to resign no matter what, that he wanted out. He wanted to go be reunited with his buddy Jalen Hurts, or at least go to a team that was a more pass-focused team. There's been reports that there was issues over how much guaranteed money the Titans were willing to offer versus what he could get from other teams. You never really know what's true. You just got to kind of read between the lines, and a lot of times in those situations, it's a little bit of both. But ultimately, when you have a player of his caliber, as a general manager, it's your job to either figure out how to get him to stay, or you got to get a lot more than what we got. I think that's the biggest thing you saw on Sunday with AJ Brown is if you trade an AJ Brown away, you got to get a lot more than what we got, because what we got is, well, Morocco missed one now. It's a little bit tighter now. What we got back was Traylon Burks, shown flashes of greatness, shown potential that he could someday get there. But how many times have we seen that as Titans fans? Kenny Britt, Justin Hunter. There's been 100 receivers we've had that young rookies, a couple big plays, look like they could be future stars that just never fully panned out. And A.J. Brown's the one we've had where it was like, yeah, this dude's the truth. This dude's legit. This dude's real. He put it on full display Sunday. As long as he's healthy, he's one of the best receivers in the NFL, and we let him go for basically nothing. That's ultimately got to be what comes down to it. Whether you think we could have kept him, whether you think there's any scenario where he wanted to stay, if he's going, if you're trading him, you got to get more than what we got for him. He's worth so much more than what we got for him. We saw that perfectly on display Sunday. Oh my gosh, for Spain has missed all three of their penalties. Morocco just needs to make one out of the next two to send themselves through the World Cup. This is shocking. This Spanish team that won 7-0 in their first game against Costa Rica is about to go up. I've been saying it all tournament. The penalties in this tournament have been atrocious. I don't know what's going on. don't know why none of these players can take penalties, because the keeper here, none of the saves he's made in particular in this penalty shootout have been anything spectacular. The penalties are just soft right down the middle. I don't know what's going on. I said it after the group stage. Watch the knockout stage. Penalties were terrible throughout the group stage. Now we're actually getting games that are going to kicks from the mark in the knockout stage, and it's continued. You know, who was it yesterday? Croatia. Japan missed 3 against Croatia, and now Spain's missed 3. One to win it. I'll get back to Titans in just 1 second. I gotta watch this. Could be the kick that wins it and sends Morocco through to the quarterfinals. Is Morocco gonna send them through, or are they gonna get one more? You get live reaction here. You can't pay for this. Oh, the cheeky Panenka to send them through. That is dirty. That is a dirty way to do it right there. Hazim, or I can't even pronounce his name. Hakimi from PSG, the right back. Dirty little Panenka to finish it off. Spain shockingly eliminated in the round of 16, and Morocco onto the quarterfinals. Wow. All right, so back to the Titans. I think one of the things that I think for him to get fired right now in the middle of the season, like to not just finish out the season, and if you feel like you need to reset going into next off season's draft and free agency, because how much is the GM going to do over the next few weeks of the season? I mean, there's not particularly high level moves to be made for a general manager between now. So to fire him in season, I think there had to be a disillusion of the relationship either between him and Amy Adams Strunk or him and Mike Vrabel. As I mentioned, that video from the draft, Vrabel certainly did not look pleased with the move. You know, I don't know how much we've seen of them together since then, really, now that I think about it. Like, you know, you would frequently see them doing press conferences together. Not a whole lot since then. I mean, we've even seen some comments from Vrabel that if you look back over them now, you kind of wonder. He was talking about Dennis Daly after the game, left tackle, said, you know, we basically have to work with what we've got, you know, can keep trying to steal people off of the people's practice squad, maybe go out and get somebody off the street, but I guess we'll just work with what we got. It kind of, maybe that was a little underhanded dig that he hadn't been given what he needed and that they were just going to have to stick with the bad left tackle because they don't have anything else. Said the team was at a crossroads, you know, implying that they had to make a big decision about which direction to go. I don't know if that was a subtle signal to Miss Amy Adams Strunk that changes were needed, but to me, that's the only reason you make a change like this, particularly when you're in a position to win your division and go to the playoffs. Because John Robinson, at this point, I don't think there's anything he's going to do that's changing that. I mean, they basically just put his assistant up as the next person in charge until a permanent hire is made. So it's not like that person's going to go out and magically find a left tackle that John Robinson couldn't find. I think this is just a clear indication that the relationship between John Robinson and either Vrabel, Amy Adams Strunk, or both had been fractured and dissolved in some way, and they felt it was time to make an immediate change, start preparing for the future, start making the moves that need to be moved to refocus what the direction of the team is going to be going forward from a player personnel standpoint. It's shocking, man. And I do feel bad for John Robinson because you can just see he has a passion for this. He wanted to win so badly. He wanted to make this team successful so badly. Just, you know, ultimately just some bad choices in the draft, some poor decisions in free agency and trades, and just, you know, he had a good start. He really was a key to getting the franchise turned around, but the last 2 to 3 years when we potentially could have had a Super Bowl window, the more you look at it, he's probably number one on the reasons why maybe at this point, I wouldn't even say we had a Super Bowl window, but we were in a position where we could have had one, and just failing to properly build the offensive line, failing to get additional playmakers in, and then trading away the one we really had in A.J. Brown, just all of it together, squandered this window. And now you're kind of looking, is the next phase going to be a complete rebuild? I mean, we kind of saw signs of it with Malik Willis getting drafted, with trading A.J. to get Treylon Burks. It felt like those were moves that you make if you think your time's up and it's time to start over. But is this a move that means they're going to go all in and, you know, maybe pull a Rams and make some big trades to try to restock for this little brief window we might have left with Tannehill and Derrick Henry? Is it a sign that we do know we have to fully rebuild now and we don't want John Robinson to be the man to direct that? We'll learn that over the next couple months, but shocking move for the Titans. It probably was the right move. I'm just more shocked that it happened in season, and like I said several times, to me that must indicate that there was some fracturing of the relationship between the key parties involved. We saw it back in the day with Fisher and Floyd Reese, the two guys who built the first kind of generation Titans, the really successful George McNair, Wycheck, Derek Mason, Drew Bennett, the first generation Titans. When things started to go south between them, there was a power struggle. Fisher won out in that one. I don't have any inside information. I'm just going off reading the tea leaves of what we have been able to see, what has been presented to us, and it certainly seems that there may have been a little bit of a disillusion, a little bit of a disenfranchisement in the relationship between Vrabel and Robinson. And like I said, that's the only thing I can think that could lead to an in-season firing, is if you just knew the relationships were broken and could not be fixed. Interesting thing to look at, one of my buddies brought up, could there have been an issue where John Robinson was pushing for somebody like Todd Downing to get fired, and Mike Vrabel was against that, and ultimately that led to some fractures? Maybe that led to Vrabel feeling like he needed more support from Amy Adams, and he got that. It could be, but at the same time, we know Amy Adams Strunk fired Mike Mularkey as the head coach before Mike Vrabel because Mike Mularkey was unwilling to make changes to his coaching staff that Amy Adams and her team believed needed to be made. So she very much seems to have Vrabel's back. She very much seemed to have John Robinson's back through a lot of stuff. Something's changed. I would believe, based on what we saw with Mularkey, if she and her advisors and the people she's working with believe that Mike Vrabel needs to make changes to his coaching staff, he will have to make them or he will have to go, which I would hate because I think he's a great coach. I think he's, of the two, of him and John Robinson, who would I pick? I'd take Vrabel 10 out of 10 times. So a lot of interesting things are coming in the world of Titans. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I got to go. I got a work conference call to jump on, but I just could not miss the opportunity to jump on and just spew my quick thoughts on this. It's crazy. We got a big game coming up Sunday now. The Jacksonville Jaguars, we're comfortably in control of the division, but you lose this game Sunday and suddenly you give them a little something to hang on to, and they've got another bite at the apple with us in just a couple weeks after Sunday. Must-win game Sunday. Huge shakeup coming to the organization just a few days out from that. Wow. Going to be a big week for the Titans. Stay tuned. There's going to be more coming on the channel from this. As more news comes out, I may jump on and do additional live streams, talk more about what I think this has implications for in the game. Certainly, we've got to see more of what the injury report is going into Sunday. Is Treylon Burks possibly going to be back? Could we get Kyle Phillips or Racey McMath back into the mix? Cody Hollister went on injured reserve yesterday, so we certainly have to do something at the wide receiver position because right now we only have 3 healthy wide receivers on the main roster. It's going to be a very interesting week in the world of the Tennessee Titans, so stay tuned to the channel for any updates or further news on that. I can't believe Spain got eliminated. That's crazy. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Turn the bell on for notifications so that you get notified anytime we go live moving forward or anytime we post any other vlogs. Thanks for watching. Tighten up.